Have you ever been stuck on a problem where there's just no easy answer? Well, today we're going to tackle one of those. We're not just looking at a simple writing prompt, we're actually deconstructing a classic dilemma, the needs of people versus the protection of nature. All right, let's get into it.
So, here it is. This is the whole task. At first glance, it seems pretty straightforward, right? But look a little closer. You've got a ticking clock, a really complex social issue to unpack. The pressure is definitely on. And the key to nailing this isn't just about writing fast, it's about thinking clearly.
And this slide just perfectly boils it down to the core tension. You can see the need for new homes on one side and the value of the countryside on the other. It's an urgent human need versus a finite, precious natural resource. It's kind of like a classic head versus heart problem, and you're the one who has to make the call.
Okay, so before we even think about forming an opinion, our first job is to basically become a detective. We need to break this whole prompt down and figure out exactly what it's telling us, and more importantly, what it's asking from us.
Let's zero in on this first sentence. It is so crucial to understand that this isn't an opinion. For this task, you have to treat it as a cold, hard fact. It sets the ground rules of the game and really sets the stage for the whole debate that's about to follow.
Yeah, we call this the premise. And the most important thing here is you don't waste a single second arguing about whether homes are really needed or if there's actually other space somewhere else. Nope. For these 40 minutes, this is the reality you are working in. It's the foundation for everything you're about to build.
And now, the next part. This is where the debate really catches fire. The prompt introduces a very clear opposing viewpoint. So we've gone from a statement of fact to an active conflict. All of a sudden, we have two sides facing off.
And that, right there, is the conflict. The prompt just hands you these two competing values, practical housing versus principled conservation. The key here is that your job isn't to immediately pick a side. Not yet. First, you have to understand the weight and the merit of both arguments.
All right, let's really dive into that first argument. To build a strong response, you have to be able to clearly explain the case for development, even if it's not the side you end up agreeing with.
The entire argument for building really hinges on this one powerful word, needed. Notice it's not wanted or desired, it's needed. That word choice is so deliberate and it is packed with meaning.
So let's ask ourselves, what does needed really imply? I mean, when we say something is needed, we're talking about a necessity, right? Something absolutely fundamental. This one little word opens up a whole range of arguments you can start to explore.
And look at this. This shows how that single word, needed, just unpacks into at least 4 big arguments. It could mean we need to house a growing population. It could be about providing affordable places for families to live. Or maybe it's about creating jobs and fueling the economy. Or even just allowing our cities to grow. These are all incredibly powerful and persuasive reasons. Okay, so now let's give the other side exactly the same treatment. To form a really balanced opinion, we have to understand the preservation argument with just as much depth. Here the key phrase is more important. This isn't just saying, oh, protecting the countryside is nice. No, it's elevating it to a higher moral ground, making it more important than the need for homes. It frames it as a superior value.
And you know, we have to ask the same kind of question again. What does important actually mean here? Important to who? For what reasons? Are we talking about the environment, our well-being, or maybe even our national identity? And just like with the word needed, that word important unlocks a whole bunch of powerful arguments of its own. Are we talking about the importance of preserving beautiful landscapes for our kids and grandkids, or protecting vital habitats for wildlife? Maybe it's about making sure we all have green spaces to go to for our health. Or, hey, maybe it's about stopping our cities from just sprawling out of control. Each of these is a really valid and, frankly, emotional point.
So, we've analyzed the basic situation and we've looked at the two conflicting arguments. Now we finally get to the most critical part. What are you, the writer, actually supposed to do with all this?
And there it is, a direct command. The prompt doesn't ask you to just summarize the debate. It's demanding that you get in there. You have to choose a position and then you have to defend it. Are you for building, for preservation, or maybe there's a compromise somewhere in the middle?
Think of these as your rules of engagement. It is not enough to just say what you think. You have to back it up with solid, logical reasons. Then you have to bring it to life with real-world examples. And on top of all that, you have to do it with enough detail to hit that word count. This is your blueprint for success.
And we end right where we began, with this number. So you see, the final question isn't just what's your opinion, It's can you form an opinion, defend it with reasons and examples, and write it all down clearly, all in just 40 minutes.